Halloween festivals are back in full force across Ireland this year. In County Meath, the Puka Festival returns. Launched in 2019, a real spectacle inspired by a malevolent creature in Celtic mythology that encapsulates the season's mystical and spooky vibe. For 2022, live acts and high-profile performances for days and preparations for months, including the build of the Morrigan, the Irish goddess of war and battle, who takes the form of a crow, a spectacular puppet, 7 people to make her move, and a testament to the storytelling that defines this festival.
The big thing is getting back to our roots and letting people know that this is the home of Halloween, which is so exciting. This is where Halloween as we know it came from, and I think that is wonderful and exciting, and I'm hoping that the festival will start to rival the likes of St. Patrick's Day as a yearly festival.
In Derry, in Northern Ireland, the return of Derry Halloween, citywide, a vibrant, colorful transformation, and dozens of shows and exhibits. USA Today named this the world's premier Halloween event, making it a destination of choice for fans of the ghoulish. The world's first Halloween parade is said to have happened here too, back in 1985. It makes sense, of course, that Ireland would be the epicenter of all things Halloween. The holiday started here 3,000 years ago, at this spot actually, the Hill of Ward, about an hour west of Dublin. Originally called Samhain, pagan sacrifices performed at the end of the calendar year, October 31st, when the veil between our world and the next was believed to be at its thinnest. Ireland's rich history, always fascinating, sometimes violent and scary, now draws global travelers seeking the spine-tingling, especially in October, seeking haunted castles like Huntington Castle and Gardens in County Carlow, where ghosts of soldiers are said to inhabit the attic, and Shankill Castle in County Kilkenny, dating back to 1705, and where a dispute over a graveyard on site once led the lady of the house to shoot a local priest, who died, but not before issuing a curse.
His dying words were, "Grass will grow on the avenue and the gates will never close." It was a curse, you know. So to this day, grass grows on that avenue, and the gates, in fact, had to be concreted closed because they kept opening. So the gates are not quite plumb, or they're not quite closed. They're still sort of open a fraction.
Duckett's Grove, a 19th century manor house on 5,000 acres that burned down in the 1930s, was cursed by the grieving mother of a young lady, William Duckett's mistress, who died in a horse riding accident here. The curse led to tales of a banshee who inhabits the home's tallest tower and who sends curdling shrieks slicing through the air at night. Entire cities like Kilkenny appeal to the fear-inclined. Nevin Cody runs Shenanigans Tours. The evening tours are popular, an interactive mix of magic and history, and a stroll through some of the haunted sites in a city whose walls date back to the 13th century. Ireland's first witch trial took place here in 1324, and tales abound of figures in the morning mist along the River Nore. Ghosts are the victims of a 1763 bridge collapse just off Kilkenny Castle. In the city of Cork, the man who runs the Franciscan Well pub says ghosts inhabit the second-floor tasting room.
Footprints. That's what you hear all the time. Sometimes you just have that feeling that there is somebody there with you, or there's somebody looking at you.
A monastery once stood here, built in 1219, still evidenced by these stone walls and a well that's dried up. Several monks are buried here along with a chieftain and his soldiers. Could those creepy steps be theirs? On Spike Island, 12 minutes by ferry across Cork Harbour, what's known to many as Ireland's Alcatraz. A monastery once, then a fortress, it became a 19th century famine-era prison. Many inmates would become the victims of overcrowding and poor conditions, which led to mass graves. A tourist attraction only since 2015, reports of shadows and the sounds of footsteps and voices abound. High on a hill above the city of Cork, you'll find Cork Jail, dating back to the early 19th century. It was a prison for female inmates, and for believers today, a hotbed of supernatural activity. Let's go inside. Opened in 1824, it actually housed men, women, and children prisoners at first, convicts of petty crimes mostly, needing reform. But it would later be run as a female-only jail until it closed in 1923. Strange sounds and scary lights are reported often, as well as visions of a woman in green, Olive, they've come to call her, seen at the upstairs window and then gone. And so it goes in an ancient land that fully embraces and promotes the scares of its past on Halloween and beyond. With videographer Paul Daniel, I'm Gabe Saglie for Travelzoo.